The first time Dilma was elected for her first term, the question was how much like Lula, the president who basically handpicked her, was she going to be? What is the question for her this time?
Can she get anything done in Congress? The new Congress will seat in February. One of the big obstacles you've mentioned there is this scandal at the state oil company Petrobras. A lot of members of Congress are likely implicated in this scandal. Some newspapers down there saying as many as 30 congressmen may be named in February once they seat. And that will make it increasingly difficult for her to tackle the deficit, to tackle inflation, to pass new tax regimes, which many people there are saying are necessary to try and reform the economy.
And this is particularly damning for her, this scandal, because her whole platform the last time around was that she was clean and she was not corrupt. This is a real problem for her.
Right, and she was chairman of the board at Petrobras from 2003 to 2010. She denies any wrongdoing, but of course her party is going to be implicated in this. A lot of the larger companies in Brazil, including ones I looked at when I was down there, big construction firms like Odebrecht, they've been involved in these alleged kickback schemes. A lot of their work is public works programs. A lot of that is seen as very important to economic revival down there. If they are implicated, if work stops on these massive infrastructure projects, that's also going to have a detrimental effect. And all of it looks really, really, really bad for Rousseff.
And she's now saddled with ministers not of her own choosing. That's bad for Dilma Rousseff, but perhaps good for markets?
I don't know if you could say that, but I think certainly that she has put in place people, she's been announcing over the last few weeks, they're all going to be taking their place right now, people who necessarily don't come from her same background, they don't necessarily have the same mindset as she does. Often they're affiliated with other members of her governing coalition. She's having to please other members of that coalition to make things happen.
We talked about how she was Lula's protege, handpicked successor. What kind of role does he play now? Does he loom large in her presidency?
I think that certainly during the start of the first term, she was always trying to fill his shoes. I'm not sure that's not necessarily something she's going to be doing right now. But, you know, his social welfare programs, we've talked about this before, Bolsa Familia, these huge cash handout funds have been
just
so
giving
important.
money away.
Giving money away has been absolutely crucial to maintaining their party support.
And I think this is also a dynamic we miss when we talk about Petrobras and the need for reform in Brazil, which is very real, the need to combat corruption. They've done amazing work in 10 years at lifting people out of poverty in that country. That can't be ignored.
Absolutely. 26 million people is the number they keep citing.
And one of the big byproducts of what's going on with their election this year is that the IPO market, which I, of course, follow closely, and my colleague Jonathan Levin down in South America has enjoyed this year with just one IPO to cover because, of course, IPOs are more hospitable in environments with low volatility and high stock prices. And it'll be interesting to see if her Congress is able to turn things around for the IPO market and enable more companies to get that growth capital.
I mean, the market was incredibly jittery. We've seen that over the last few months, running up to the election, even throughout the summer as the campaign got underway. That will obviously be something that businesses look at when they're deciding are they going to take themselves public.
And during the boom days, when everyone could only talk about bricks, everyone was tying Brazil included, its fate to China. Now that China has slowed down, it's got to look somewhere else. Some people would say it's flailing to look for that engine of growth.
Well, I mean, it was important to note yesterday that during her inauguration ceremony, you had Joe Biden was down there, senior leaders from countries like China, Venezuela, obviously all of them visiting. So this is still a country that a lot of people are looking for, whether it's in terms of commodities, whether it's their role on the world stage.
Yeah, and this is what's so hard about the Petrobras scandal, which was that this oil that had been found, this oil strike off the Brazilian coast, was supposed to be a godsend for the entire country. And now, not only has that been mismanaged in a bunch of ways, it doesn't even make sense economically now.
Right. I think with oil prices, we're going to see that across the world. There are a lot of these more technically complex projects where they're trying to extract oil from, way under the seabed. It's going to be very, very uneconomical to.
When are you headed back to Brazil?
I don't know, Scarlett. Just give me an air ticket.
Oh, no. I got next.